this time. There we go. Good. Well, thanks guys for joining me. Like I said, we'll pop right into this. My name is Kim Naughton. For those of you that don't know me, I know most of you. I own the AEC Consultant Group. So we help architects, engineers, contractors, home services with marketing, business development, and you know, that fun job of branding. So doing the websites, social media, email campaigns, that sort of thing, really trying to get the best foot out for folks. And that is why I really love this presentation. But I'll go through. If you have questions, don't, you know, just unmute yourself, scream them out at me. I will also kind of have a little pause point where we might go back. I might actually call on people for some interaction, so be aware of that. But with that, let's just roll into this. Let me share my screen. Screen share. Excellent. There we go. Okay, can you see the presentation? I see nods. Excellent. Now it's always a question of where do I locate you guys, where I can still see what I'm talking about. Okay, well, good. So here we are. 4 steps to attract A+ clients. Like I said, I chatted about this at, well, presented on this at ProGreen this last year. ProGreen is a big Rocky Mountain regional conference at the convention center here in Denver for landscape contractors. So we have a little bit of a bend to that, but knowing we have some different disciplines here, I will definitely kind of change up some of the content. But the main problem that we always deal with business owners when I talk to them is time, right? I don't have enough time to do this. I'm really, really busy. So how do I, you know, who would I even market to? Because I'm too busy. I can't possibly do more work. And the problem with that is they're busy, maybe not with the right clients, is always what I try to have a conversation with them about. Sometimes it's very hard to let that sink in. But I always say if there's 25% of your clients that are draining your energy, your resources, imagine life without them, right? And imagine with that open gap in your schedule, who could fill that gap? And again, we're trying to kind of out with some of the old that aren't so great for your bottom line and bring in better clients. So if you can think of a kind of box of who your clients are, we're going to move it up. So that's what we're going to go over some tips today on how to do that. But it always seems to come down to time, right? How do you fit this into your schedule? And my role basically as a consultant is to really inspire what is possible. But you got to figure out what's working and not working, right? That's where we always start. Seeing what you're doing, what's getting results, what's not, and then we got to create that change and find a way to get you moving forward instead of just like, here's a plan, good luck, have a nice day, right? We don't want to do that. We want to see things actually change in your business. So when we are talking kind of about you and where you are in your business, some of you may be like, man, I'm busy. Life is good. There's no issue, right? That's kind of this level 1 of levels of awareness. And you'll see this when you talk to your own people that you meet with. Level 2, you know, man, I'm busy. Do I like all my clients? Maybe not, right? You're maybe kind of aware there's an issue, but you're not real sure how it's affecting your bottom line in your business. Level 3 is that you're aware and you're ready to make a change, right? You're like, man, I've been working hard for 5 years. I feel like I'm at the same place. How do I get further, right? How do I go above and beyond and get better? So that's kind of that level 3. Now, level 4 is it's urgent and you need to solve the problem. We're probably, a lot of people have escalated to level 4s with our last 3 months of the economy and business and COVID, right? That's kind of a thing that impacts people to be like, I got to turn this around right now. I got to turn this around in the next season. I got to turn this around in the next year and really get better at who I'm letting into my business. Because, you know, we'll get to that, but you just don't really want to work with everybody, and that's completely okay. So first step, we're going to roll right into it here, is knowing your who. Okay, you might want to write these down because these might be a quiz later. But you want to, again, I'll send out, I'll also have a worksheet and kind of leave behind on this. But the first one is really know your who. And again, you can't be everything for everybody. So we need folks to stop trying to do that, right? And I'm going to pause just for 1 second and make sure nobody is in the waiting room. Okay, now I think we're good. So, you know, you just can't be everything. And people are, who's your ideal client, right? Who do you want to work for? You're like, everybody. And it's like, oh man, Let's hone that down, right? Let's define it a little better. Let's try and get some steps and places in here where we really know people are going to benefit your business and you're going to help them do better work. I like to think of it as basically like a red carpet, right? Little rope. You gotta, you know, I can't just pull up and shimmy on in behind Brad Pitt to get into the Oscars. Unfortunately, I don't have that pole yet, right? So there's a guy running that rope. It's across there. And it's like, who are you gonna let through there to work with you in your business? And you really need to be a little more discerning about who is qualified and who's a good fit and who showcases your capabilities to let them in that space. So it's a little bit of a mind shift on how you're working with folks, but one that is really necessary to, again, attract those better clients. So the first step is we need to define what A+ means to you. And again, this is going to be different for different businesses. Some people have really honed in on what this is. Some people still are like, man, I'll work with anybody who makes over $60,000 a year. Again, that's a big part of the population. So again, this is a little more tailored towards architects, engineers, but the first question I like to ask is, do you want public or private projects, right? Are you going after cities? Are you marketing to, or maybe developers or consumers, right? Trying to make that distinction. Again, it can be both. It just gets a little more complicated on how you present that message, like especially on your website, right? If you're working with both cities and private developers, there's a way you need to present that information to those folks so they don't just be like, oh, he doesn't work with my company, my city, I'm out of here. Second question I like to ask is residential or commercial? Do you have a preference on what you try and hone in on there? The scale of project, right? Do you want to do $30 million hospitals? I don't even know, Tom, can you get hospitals for $30 million anymore? Not even real sure about that. That was probably a 10-year ago number. Or do you want to do $5,000 backyard, quick, down and dirty, one-day remodels, right? That could be something that you're really good at and you make good money at. So you really kind of got to understand that scale. The area, right? What type of area do you want to work? I had some great project referrals this spring for landscapers. I contacted 5 people. I was like, everybody wants jobs, right? Everybody's looking for jobs. Nope. This one guy was literally like 10 miles from my house in Highlands Ranch. That's where I'm working. I'm like, man, he is dialed in, right? He has got that avatar of where he is doing work. So trying to define that neighborhood, that area. And again, that relates to scale, right? If you're doing small lots, you're probably not marketing to Cherry Hills Village. You're probably not marketing to Castle Pines. So these all also play together. Budget is great. Some people like $1 million projects. Some people like $10,000 projects, $5,000 projects. Again, the scale and their crews and how that comes into play is all really impacted to there. And one that I think people sometimes leave out is that specialty, right? Do you really have some skills that shine when it comes to environmental design, when it comes to stormwater management, when it comes to water features, right? There's a lot of opportunities that you can really pull in, and that's kind of who you're marketing to, right? If that's what you are looking for. So you got to really define, again, know your who and defining that, what A+ means to you. Again, comes in all shapes and sizes, a little more landscape driven, but get the picture there. So with that, we got some action strategies for knowing your who. So the first piece is really creating that client avatar. And again, that in case you're like, okay, Kim, what's an avatar? I know it's a movie. I don't know really what else. That's really, if you could build that ideal client and have them sit there beside you and have a conversation, put them on a shelf and look at them when you forget who they are, you're building that ideal client, again, with those things we just spoke about. So let your specialty and what you do best really inform who that person is. The next piece, once you know who that great client is, do a client analysis, right? Print out your last, if you've been in business 30 years, go 10 years back and look at that client list. Obviously, keep your current clients separate from your past clients. Past clients are super valuable. Always keep that handy and at your fingertips. We'll go into a little bit more detail on that later, but look at that current client list and rate them. I mean, I hate to say it, right? They don't know you're doing it. No one's going to leak this information to the public, but give them an A, give them a B, give them a C, give them an F. And again, it's time to maybe then ask that question, you know, third point here, making room for A+ clients, why are you working with them, right? What value are they bringing back to your company? Are you helping them be better? If they don't respect you and how you're doing things, maybe it's time to let them go. And again, I know that is a hard place for people to appreciate, letting go of clients that are paying them money. But I do honestly believe when you free that space, again, you're going to be doing more tactics, better outreach to get these A+ clients coming in and filling that space. Oh, nope. Okay. So with that, I am going to, let's see, I'll see if I can see y'all a little better. Somebody who wants to name a characteristic of your avatar, right? Anybody, go ahead, unmute, shout it out. If you have a particular thing about your avatar that you would like to share. Putting y'all on the spot.
I want them to be honest.
Ooh, honest. Now that's hard to search, right? That's not one you get on Google and look for honest business owner, but you have to make relationships to find that out.
Yes.
Yep. Anyone else? Characteristic of your avatar?
Sheila said an empty nester.
Ooh, thank you for checking the chat box. It's off on my thing. Empty nesters, cool. Yep. And again, when you start getting into age or demographics, there are some really fun ways to kind of define triggers of things that happen in their life. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I know I have to go back and get in touch with them. So awesome. Thanks, guys. Oh, hey, Mark, I see you now. You're here. Hey, welcome. Little Mark Bernstein, City of Denver. Thanks for making an appearance with Heather. Awesome. So we will move on to step 2. So step 2 is why your company, right? Why are you positioned to be the best fit for a project? And I really like this one because sometimes people just say things like, we do meaningful designs, right? We give great customer service, and that's fine. But is that going to get the attention of somebody, right? Is that enough when they're looking at 3 different websites and I see Colorado's outdoor designers presented to me? Is that enough for me to be like, do I want to know more? Like, I don't know. How pretty is your picture would probably be my next question, right? Maybe I will dig deeper, but you know, have something that really has some kind of zing to it. And I like to call it the Times Square test. Let's all go back 4 months, right? When Times Square could look like this. The Times Square test, right? It's moving, it's bustling, there's lights, there's signs. I mean, there's just, you know, a cowboy maybe with no clothes on. There's a lot going on here. But if you were to get a big box and stand on top of it, and you were to say what you do and how you do it, would people just kind of look at you and keep walking by? Would they not even look at you? Or could you say something about your company where they like actually stopped and were like, I'm interested, like, tell me more, right? That's the level we want to get to with knowing why your company. So just kind of think about that. You know, again, it's the messaging on your website, it's on your business cards, it's out there. Why are people wanting to work with you? What problems are you solving? So when it comes to action strategies on why your company, the first one is really what sets you apart from the competition. I love following my competition on social media and checking out their websites and seeing what they're up to. It's great, right? I want to see if they're providing this resource or that resource, or they have this gap. I suggest doing that, right? Knowing what they're up to is always really great to help you decide, do you agree with what they're doing, or do you have a different perspective on that? And again, if you do, that's a differentiator. Facts tell, stories sell. This is a big one for sure. I always tell, I like a story comes into my mind and it was so great and it's there for a couple weeks and then it kind of peters away and it didn't become applicable and I didn't say it and I forget it, right? Write these stories down. You're going to get into communications with clients and they're going to tell you how much they enjoy working with you. Write it down, because these are great things that you want to bring up on a sales appointment or put in a proposal or send in an email that people are like, wow, that is really talking to me. You know, working with Kim made my life easier because of this. So really remember those. And then promote your company, right? Why your company, all of your media. I mean, this is the marketing game. It's the business development game. It should tell your story. And that is your website. It's your social media. It's written in your emails, it's in your signature, it's on your voicemail, it's everywhere. Okay. I mean, again, it's your brand, right? But it is really out there. And if it's out there, people know it and remember it, as opposed to like it's not out there. And so people are kind of filling in the gaps. Like, oh, that company, yeah, they design parks, right? Maybe that's all they remember. So that's a piece that you really want to do, is make sure you're putting a consistent message out on all platforms. So with that, again, let's kind of go back to the group. I'm going to expand this a bit. Anybody can share, why people should work with you over people that also do what you do. Or if you have a great story, I'd love to hear a great story. So anybody, feel free, unmute, kind of a client relationship story, something they weren't expecting with working with you. I'm going to just put you all on the spot. Anyone?
So I'll say something, Kim.
Yeah.
So I know I'm different than the rest of the group. I do more insurance and not, in my husband's world of the landscape and dealing with projects and things like that. But what sets our company apart in the 26 years that we've had our agency is that we support small business. So there's a lot of brokers out there that just say, here the insurance and take it or leave it, and they may see you once a year. Whereas we take on all of that administration with no additional cost. So we are kind of an extension of their human resources that they don't necessarily have the money to, hire an HR director. So
right.
We have value added that a lot of brokers don't do. So that's kind of what sets us apart.
Yep. Great. Awesome. Anyone else got anything?
I'll kind of tag on to what Heather just said. What sets us apart is we answer the phone.
Oh, hey, what's that? What's the phone?
Numbers. We don't have help tickets. We don't have help topics that when people need to reach us, we answer the phone and we talk to them and we help them immediately.
Tom was sharing a story about that on the golf course a couple weeks ago, right? You're muted, Tom. I'll tell the story. He's like, if I take the time to call you and you send me an email back or maybe a text, right? Like, how bad do you want to work with me? And that leaves an impression for sure. So, yep, that was a definite way, again, how some people do business and some people don't. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All right, we're gonna move into step 3, only 4 steps, 3/4 of the way, we're getting there. So how, I love this one. People think of this one, I think, but they don't always execute it to its fullest potential, but solving your clients' problems. And this is one, especially in our website design work that we do. It's great to say how amazing you are. It's great to say your awards. It's great to show your projects, but what's the consistent message there? You, right? Me, you, my business, my projects, my awards. We need to turn that message around on websites and on social media and talk about your customers and your clients and your prospects. They want to know more about you. They want to know about you and where you came from, how you got here, and your projects and your awards, but it shouldn't be front and center. You should really be talking about your clients front and center, and then providing that supplemental information about your qualifications. So, solving your clients' problems. Basically, I like to put these into two categories, right? There's one type of problem. Why did they call you, right? They had to reach out, or there had to have been an RFP or a proposal, or there's a problem that needs solved. And so you're raising your hand saying, I can solve this problem, right? Pretty most of the time, they're going to tell you this problem. Otherwise, you're just having a very strange conversation. Now, along with that, somebody may call you, we'll go again, landscape contractor, say, hey, I need like 2,000 square feet of rock in my backyard. Okay. Most landscape contractors get that phone call. They're like, well, that's not really an A+ client. I'm thinking of that velvet rope. I probably don't need to meet with this person, right? But if you ask a little deeper, right? Hey, why do you want the rock? Oh, I have dogs that killed my grass. Oh, well, let's talk other options, right? So if you just go a little further in that one problem, now this doesn't work with everything, right? But if it's a conversation on that level, you may be able to talk them into a nice patio, a fire pit, you know, a lot of hardscape back there they could use and enjoy instead of looking at a wasteland of rock. Sorry, I might be biased as a landscape architect. But you can kind of get there and find out this information. So dig a little deeper. Now, obviously you're chasing a project, again, with the city or the, you know, National Park Service, what have you, you're probably not going to rewrite their project that they're wanting to do. So I wouldn't probably go in on your proposals like, hey, I got a better idea than what you got. Yeah, not a great idea. Now, two sets of problems here, like I mentioned. Problem two, they're dealing, you know, they have the visual problem, right? I got to solve this problem. This is what I know. This is what I'm telling you. Give me a quote. The second problem is like emotional, right? What has happened in their past? What was their last experience, Sheila, you know, working with a contractor that came into their home and redid their bathrooms? What is their last experience on, say it's an RFP for like a streetscape project in a city? You know, think of the last 3 projects they did in the city and what could have been a problem or 2 on those projects that, you know, they didn't bring to the table. They're not rehashing the problems in this RFP, but imagine if you address some of these things that come up in past projects that are pain points that they're like, man, that was so awful. I don't ever want to work with that company ever again because they did this deal. Imagine if you kind of address like, hey, we're not going to do that and we're not going to do that. And we aren't those people and we are honest and all these things kind of on that emotional level. All of a sudden you've really positioned yourself as one of the top probably 2 or 3 people ready for that project. So always, you know, you gotta understand what the big problem is, maybe dig around and find out a little bit more detail on that because it may not be the real problem the owner is focused on so intently. But that second problem, if you can solve that emotional, let's just call it baggage, right? If you can solve that baggage problem that they're also carrying to this project, they're going to be more comfortable to work with you. So you just got, you know, certified as a problem-solving superhero. So I want you all to walk away today knowing you have a little bit more oomph in your step, that you have the skill. So congrats. Again, you know, in that home services arena, you know, pre-COVID, you were at a dinner party, right? You kids were at camp, you were going camping, hiking, vacations, teaching sports, doing all these things. If somebody wants a quote from you and they're going to go meet with 4 other people to talk about their kitchen, Sheila, I mean, ugh, like, why? You know, isn't living your life and doing these other things more important than donating 3 hours on a Saturday for each company to wait for them to get there, to be late, to show up, to ask questions and have this conversation again? And it's okay when you're there to just ask that question. Hey, you know, are you comfortable making this decision today? If not, what have I not answered that makes you comfortable with me? You know, what can I do to make you feel like this is the right relationship to move forward on this project? Again, if you feel like it's a great A+ type client. It may not be. You're maybe like, man, I got to get out of here because I got to do these fun things because this client's not a good fit for me. So it definitely goes both ways on that. So we're going to recap step 3, action strategies. Again, first of all, you got to know what the problems are. There's so many outlets to just have conversations, right? It's beers, coffee, your website. You can have a place where people put in information, a private Facebook group. They have to answer questions before they get in, trade shows, client meetings, so many opportunities. Every time you have a conversation, find out what their problem is, write it down. I have a 3-page list of problems. I try and put them into 3-4 different categories. So when I do content in email newsletters, when I do content on social media, it's related to that. I'm tying those pieces together and helping them really understand that I know what their problems are. Again, back to the stories, write them down. You're going to forget them. Again, focusing on, hey, what was, you know, when you're out on what was that really bad experience on your last streetscape project? You know, they always ask in the interviews, right? Hey, you got any questions for us? Yeah, I do. What's your biggest pain point when it comes to this type of project? What is not working in the city when this type of thing gets built? Tell me. And if you can answer it right then and there on the spot and give them a solid response to that, that's going to be memorable for them. And then obviously you want to integrate, you know, this information, these problems they have, the stories into your sales appointments. So you want to bring your problem solving superpowers to these appointments and answer these questions before they even come up, right? Oh, just so you know, we have these 4 things that we do on every single project. You're not going to find a nail in your yard because we do this. You're not going to have a problem with storage of problems and materials because we get every project done in 2 days. You're not going to have this, you're not going to have that, right? So you're bringing these problems to the table before they even are like, man, this is a real problem for me. And they're like, wow, these people get me and they want to work with me. So again, let's pause out. I'm gonna expand you guys. You know what's coming. So yeah, does anybody like have a story or, you know, what's a problem of your client avatar? What's something they face? I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna unmute people. How about that? Oh, it's not easy to do like this. Oh, I can. I'm gonna go Joe. Hey, Joe. How are you? You're unmuted.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I mean,
What is a problem that an engineering firm or some people you work with, what's a problem they face?
getting their name out there, I would say.
Yep.
I'm
Because you
really-
share articles about projects, but you also have advertising space, right? Subs
Right.
want to be in there. People want to get their exposure out. Awesome. Love it.
Sheila just typed in the chat functionality of their kitchen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Pretty much kitchens can like cook the food for you, right? You don't even, you just need to stand there and like navigate. I don't have a kitchen like that. I still need to work with Sheila. Let's see here. Chris, I'm going to unmute you. Hang on. Oh, wait, I'm still working on it. Okay, there we go. You're unmuted.
Oh, my biggest problem with most clients is the scope of their project doesn't meet their budget. And so,
yes. Big dreams.
yeah, that's always a meeting in itself just to try to analyze their budget
Yep.
and figure out exactly what they can do.
Yep.
And a lot of times when they don't like to hear that, you know.
Right.
So,
Well, and along those lines, I've worked with a couple landscape companies where we're actually like creating these graphics of, if you just want a concrete pad, $3,000, right?
mhm,
If you want a stone patio and a fire pit and a water feature, $30,000, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's hard because, you know, there's so many options and, you know, what's the material they chose over that material, but, you know, put some padding in there. But like, hey, if you want a kitchen and a pop-a top, like
mhm.
that's going to cost you, you know, that's $200. So if you just want the kitchen, we can do something in there. Yeah, it's probably not going to get 200, is it? Even I have that crazy delusional. So yeah, I mean, again, as much as you can kind of educate them along the way, and especially right up front too, before you get too far into it and they're married to this awesome design and all of a sudden it's like heartbreak, you know, it's like, what are we cutting out?
Yeah.
So awesome. Thanks guys for sharing. Okay. Reduce size. Whoop. Heather, thank you for keeping me tuned in for what Sheila's talking. I appreciate it. Okay, and the last one, fortune is in the follow-up. How many times have we heard this? Let's see here. So, a lot of different types of follow-up for different stages in a relationship, okay? First one, you know, you've met someone, but you haven't really gotten to build a relationship with them. That is not the time for like a sales conversation, in my opinion. You know, get to know them, build that relationship, show your value, answer questions, be there for support, but you're not really having a sales conversation yet. You've just met them. We're on the first date, you know, let's wait till we're going on vacations together or something. Then there's leads, right? This is somebody who maybe signed up on your website for some information. They're interested. They have actually tapped you on the shoulder through LinkedIn or something and said, man, I want to know a little bit more about what you're up to, you know, find out, again, have those conversations. What are the problems you're facing? Offer solutions, produce that engaging content, be there for them, support them. And if they're like, you know, this sounds like something that could solve my problems, I'm interested, let's go and have that conversation. Now there's a lead, no sale, right? So you were the lead, you actually had that sales conversation, nothing happened. Like, oh man. Again, I like that communication, right? Why weren't you a good fit? And it's okay. Make the phone call, send an email. Hey, Tom, man, so great getting to know you. You know, love talking about that one project with you. I really wanted to do the welding on it. You know, we didn't get picked. Hey, can you just give me a couple insights as to maybe why we didn't? That's a great way to just, again, put more information on you so you can present yourself better the next time around. Because maybe Tom's going to pick you, and maybe Tom's just like, hey, man, I love working with you guys, but I got to rotate who we work with as subs on big projects. You know, I can't just put everything into one client or one sub and use you on everything, because we got to kind of, you know, keep the community healthy that way. Great. Okay, good to know. So I can expect every 5 projects I get picked. Now I know. And moving on, you're not, you know, crying about it anymore. Past clients. Man, I so enjoy past clients. Again, landscape industry. If you have been in business for 30 years, like I'm like, you don't need new clients. I know Kathy Cottrell and I on the call here, we had this call last week. You don't need to spend money on ads. You don't even probably need to be on social, you know, do these things. Like, you don't have to find new clients. You have them all. And that pool of people can support you in so many ways. People who bought a new house, right? You designed their landscape here. You can do some research. You can find out who's moved and who's no longer living in that residence. You want to design their next landscape at the new house. Give them a call. Then the new homeowners that moved into the old house, introduce yourself to them. Hey, do you want a walking tour of your garden? I can tell you about some of the plants. Great way to do that. They have so many opportunities, so I love to use them as an example. But if you install the play structure, put that person on a list, and in 6 years you call them back. Guess what? Nobody wants that play structure anymore. Chances are, unless they're really putting out a lot of kids. You know, they want a fire pit now. They want to entertain. They have friends in the neighborhood. They don't need the swing set anymore. Let's get it pulled out. Retirement is a great trigger. Again, for a lot of you guys on this call, it's a great trigger. Either they want to travel and they want low maintenance and they don't want to take care of anything, put it on autopilot, great. Or they're going to retire and they're going to stay home and be the life of the neighborhood. So 2 levels of work there. So again, always looking at those past clients. Plus again, if you really, I like to say every year for people that work with like in the neighborhood of 50 to 100 clients, pick 10 that were outstanding. And every 6 months at least, drop them a line, send them an email, get them a new flat of flowers on Mother's Day, like do something special, because they're just going to tell their friends, right? They may not need you to come back and do work for them and redesign something you invested $100,000 in, but you definitely want to know their friends. Again, for those top kind of 10 clients. Oh boy, so many options. There's Janice's, you know, bright orange phone that she answers and calls people on, text message, write letters, send gifts, invite to events, email, mail, like so many options. Just use them all. You know, when I do outreach for companies, we usually start with an email, we do a phone call, we go back to an email, we do another email, and then we'll do like a card, like a written card. So about 6 outreaches. Used to be 6 to 8, right, is what they kind of said, like, or 6 to 8 impressions before somebody takes notice of your business, that sort of thing. They're saying that's like up to 12, 13 now. Like, it's astounding. And again, people are busy. They read your email, it popped up, they opened it, they went into a meeting, they forgot about it, they maybe found it 3 months later. I mean, so many things happen. But if you pick up that phone, I mean, that's why it's an orange. It is still the #1 way to get a hold of people. And they may see your emails, and they may see you at events speaking, and they may see you on social media. And so you're warming them up with all of these things that you're doing in outreach. But when you get them on the phone, it's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. You're not just a stranger calling me and annoying me and breaking up my day. So if you do all these little things, that will help your chances on connecting with them. So your action strategies here, personal outreach is really important. Again, we do email campaigns, we do social media, not super personal because they're bigger, broader campaigns. But if you send that personal email from your Outlook and put their name in it and talk about their business, and the last time we talked, you said this, that resonated with me, I have this, here you go. You know, again, make a phone call when you can have small scale type events. I love the power those can have on your business. If you invited 10 of your best clients to a dinner, sure, you're dropping a couple grand maybe, and they may not need you to do stuff, but you just had a great dinner, lots of wine, good talk, and they each told a friend. That's probably worth a couple grand, you know? So think about what you can do to connect with really great people in a special, meaningful, personal way where they will then think of you for other folks to work with you. Delivering fresh content, again, it's just a piece of this puzzle. So you're not just a stranger calling somebody. You're delivering content through email, social media, live videos, producing articles, being the expert in what you do. I always love when I talk to people like, man, Kim, you're out there. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm out there. Like, that makes me feel so good that you think I'm out there because sometimes I don't know if I'm out there enough, right? So it's just good to know you're out there and you're putting the information out and people are listening, right? I mean, I've never met Chris before. Chris is like, I want to attend your talk. I'm like, yes, Chris, this is great. I'm like, you might have gotten added to my email list from somewhere. But, you know, again, these little things to help people is really what you want to be putting out there in terms of content. And then doing things unexpected, right? Acts of novelty. Most everybody, Kathy, again, you can talk to that, has the Christmas gift down, right? They're like, we send things at Christmas. I mean, imagine if you sent heart-shaped sugar cookies at Valentine's Day, right? Imagine if you delivered green, you know, Irish beer on St. Patrick's Day. Imagine, you know, if you did a volunteering activity and invited your clients to attend with you. So try and think of different ways to appreciate people, getting them engaged in what you're doing and how to interact and, again, build those quality relationships because it will definitely come back. Oh, no, not that. Yes. Okay. Stopped it. So that is your follow up. Let's see here. So now we're going to go to quiz time. Quiz time. We're going to recap the 4 steps. Oh yeah, Joe.
You said earlier about email, phone call, email, and then you said card. What type of thing would you say in a card?
Just, you know, it can go a lot of different ways, kind of depending on, you know, what you're trying to do, but just, you know, trying to introduce myself to you. I do this, but, you know, as much as you can kind of keep it less I and more them, you know, try and think of a problem they might have and say something to that effect, you know, like, hey, I realize you have problems getting exposure with big time contractors. And, you know, I might have some cool ideas to help you guys. If you're interested, you know, shoot me an email or something to that effect. It's always tough because that card has to translate now. They have to take action to go on a different route, right? They're probably not going to write you a card back. So they're going to pick up the phone or they're going to email you. And that gets a little tricky. But again, if you call again, you know, I mean, you don't have to hard stop after that card, right? Call again, send another email. Because then they're like, wait a second, she did get through to me. I do want to talk to her. I do want to make that return, you know, outreach. So it's all a game. And again, some people will get you real quick and some people not so much. Yeah, Tom. Oh, hang on. Let me unmute you. Okay.
So how often should you post things on like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, weekly, or
I love those.
how much is too much?
2 times a day, too much. 2 to 3 times a day, I don't care. Come on, give me one good thing a day. It's funny, if I get somebody like 3 times in my feed, I'm like, and I'm done with you. LinkedIn, it's a little more difficult to do that, right? And LinkedIn is such an interesting animal. I mean, Heather, I know you're active on there. A lot of folks are, Joe, you're active on there, but I can tell you the firms, 10 firms off the top of my, that just every day, look at our award-winning project, look at this, look at our award. I mean, it's just like, oh God, I'm dying, you know, like, I know you guys are great, but I'm so tired of this. Like, give me something new, give me something, you know, how you're helping the community or something. But so LinkedIn, always post earlier in the day. You know, you post anything after 1, 2 o'clock, it probably just gets into the LinkedIn like wasteland. I also wouldn't probably post on Fridays because again, people are kind of meh, semi-tuned in. Yeah, see, right? Janice, like, she's like, I don't care about Fridays. I ain't going on Facebook by then. 2 times a week, you know, if you can get 1-2 times a week, that's pretty good for LinkedIn. Now, Instagram, I prefer over Facebook. Facebook is just very hard to get people to follow a page and be involved in it unless they are connected to your personal page. If you're promoting your business to your personal page, you'll get more exposure. But to get them like into I get 1 new follower for a client that got 200 followers on Instagram. It's like, I hate this game. I hate the Facebook algorithm game. I say minimum 3 times a week, posting to Facebook, Instagram. Instagram, I mean, if you can go 5 times a week, great. I just was starting until like the whole meltdown last weekend. I was trying to make an effort to post every day for 30 days. I'm like, I'm going to write an article about this. It's going to be great. And then like, you know, the world melted down. I'm like, God, I just don't want to post right now. I just don't like what's happening. So I kind of put it on pause, but that traction I got 1 time a day, it was crazy. I was like, what in the world? How am I getting all these followers like that are now interested in what's going on? Like content is king. Consistency is queen. If you're putting out great content, but you do it 1-2 a week, people like forgot about you in that meantime. But if you're being consistent, again, 5 times I love, 3 times is enough. And again, social media is tough. A lot of people do things kind of first thing, 8-9 o'clock. And then kind of that 2 o'clock range is kind of a good time as well. Sometimes if I didn't post anything, I wait till like after dinner when people I know are just probably watching TV and on their phone or doing something like that. So like 7 o'clock-ish is kind of a good time as well. But you can see the analytics on when people are busy on your account and what makes most sense in terms of times and days to post. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Good question, Tom. I love social media. Love it. Okay, so let's go back. What was number 1? What was the first step to attract A+ clients? Who knows it? Who knows it? Who knows it?
Know your who.
Yay! All right, way to go, Janice. If I had prizes, I'd throw them at you. Oh wait, we're on a Zoom. All right, what was step 2? Step 2. Anyone? Anyone? Come on, Joe.
Why your company?
Yes, why your company, Chris. Well done. High fives. All right, number 3. Who's got number 3? Third step. It's my favorite. Oh, Tom, I'm reading lips. What was that, Tom?
Solve your customers' problems.
Yes, all the problems. Well done. And number 4. Number 4.
Question is in the follow-up.
Thank you, Janice. Yay, you got it. I love it. Good participation, guys. I'm impressed. I am impressed. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I do have a worksheet that kind of has, you know, where you can write down some of these notes. I'll send that your way. I do have like a 4 or 5 page that goes into a little bit more detail. Well, not more detail than I spoke of, but more detail than a 1 page of these steps. So I will send that your way as well. I think I have everybody's email. Yeah. But bringing it all back, right? Why in the heck, again, do you want these A+ clients? I hate to say it, it all kind of comes back to money, right? But money can help you do great things, and it helps you retain employees, helps you pay them more. It can improve the culture. Imagine if you could invest in new machinery to make the project that much more efficient. Guess what? You're going to retain your employees. They're going to be happier. Expanding your operations, you're going to be able to attract those investors in your company. There's just so many great things. So again, it's always really hard, but if you could take a look back at that client list of who you're with, and if they're, you know, recurring type clients, who are those that just may not be a good fit for your business anymore? And how do you fill in with better folks in that area? Again, we're just here helping businesses with the marketing, the business development. 3 pieces I like to say that we focus on, it's the clients, it's the content, it's the creative, right? I need more clients, we can help you with that. I have no idea what kind of content to have on my website or social media, we can help you with that, which again relates back to clients, right? And creative, if you don't have good photography, if you don't have a great website, you're looking for how to, really design something for a special anniversary or something to that effect, we can help you do all those things as well. So we are here. I love to just chat with people. If you are stuck at something, let us know. We'll just have a conversation and see if I can help unstuck you, unstick you. But you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, emails, phones, all that good stuff. I do have, it might be good for you, Chris, Sheila. There's a Facebook group that I've started, fairly young, contractor marketing tips. I do try and post in there 3 times a week, roughly. But that has been getting some traction from folks beyond Colorado, which is exciting. And yeah, just helping solve those problems there. And again, it's fun because that was one of the areas where I actually had them answer 3 questions to be entered into this private Facebook group. And all of a sudden I have 20 amazing, 40 amazing ideas as to content, because these are problems people are having. So anywhere you can get information from people, if you just got to email them, some people are bored. You got to know who your audience is and who you're talking to. But hey, I'm trying to reach out to some engineers. I'm going to reach out to 10 of my engineer friends and say, what are 5 real problems you're facing? And you might get some responses back that can help you position your website, position that marketing piece, position that email. So a lot of opportunities there. So with that, I'm going to stop the share. We're all going to come back. I'm seeing things in there. Okay, good. Any other comments, thoughts, questions? Oh, I love that talk. Such a fun talk.
It's been great.
Okay, good. Thanks, Janice.
I'm going to add a 0.5. Ask for
What
the
is it?
sale.
Oh God, yeah, that too.
Just ask for it.
Oh, it gives me like heart palpitations, but yes. Love it. Well, good. I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll catch you on the flip side, right? Give me a call if you guys need anything. Bye. Bye, Marika.
Sheila says thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Awesome. Yeah, see, Marika. I still owe you an email.
Yeah, it's all, this is great, but I think startup people is hard because we don't have a client.
Exactly, right? Yeah, we have seen it, Tom.
So anyway.
Yeah, no, we do. We have that conversation frequently. If you have that client list, man, you got great relationships to tap into. But when you don't, which I get you, I am in your boat with you, right?
To start, and I think it's great that you're doing this kind of webinar.
Yeah,
because then people will jump in and know your service.
Yeah.
Free stuff people always like.
It's great. I like I say, it's a small kind of group and I love them that scale, but it's fun because there's always somebody I don't know. How did you hear about this? Oh, social media. Oh, this, oh, that. And I'm like, awesome. So things are working, right? Things are, doing that. But, and I think also when you don't have that client list, professional organizations can be really helpful.
Uh-huh.
Being involved, getting to know people, because, again, A+ clients aren't the same for everybody. And if you can find somebody that is doing something drastically different than what you're doing, then they might feed you those types of clients that aren't a good fit for them. So those strategic relationships can be super, super, super important at that level.
Yeah, it's great that you said first 1-2 years just investing, right?
Yep. Building. Gosh, one of our, my latest client is a website, redesign, not like completely rebuild like from scratch, but we're kind of fixing what's there. And I started talking to her. So it's June. We just signed the contract beginning of the month. My first conversation with her was March of 2019.
Oh,
so, Yeah,
Ah,
13 months ago, but
Oh.
whatever. Or no,
it
15
worked.
months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just takes time. Again, it's like they're not ready yet, and that's okay. You know,
Yeah,
they
I
know who
think
you are, and yeah.
that's where I am too. I'm just feeling good, but it's gonna take time, and I don't have much budget to